Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your boy Ascend Beyond, Orlando Johnson, back again with another video. Today, I have a deep conversation I want to talk to you guys about. DNA, atoms, protons, neutrons. What does all of this have to do with our biological construct? Let's talk about it. Now, we've all heard that the DNA is the book of life, right? It's the instruction manual of life. Your DNA is constructed of different molecules that make up your hair type, your eye color, your personality, your teeth, your feet, everything. Everything that is written within the DNA is the instruction manual of life, the book of life, if you will. Now, this is not a unknown concept in the scientific community. Everyone knows this. So let's see if we can tie the understanding of the DNA into the understanding of the language of biblical principles. Now, keep in mind, I am not a religious person at all, okay? But I do believe that when you read the Bible, you see traces of hidden mystical code, right? Mystical codes that are wrapped in mystery and tied into different stories that were told over time in the ancient world that have higher meaning into what we're dealing with as a species today. So let's talk about it. Okay, now the DNA is responsible for a lot of aspects of yourself. It is not just the biological makeup of your actual human anatomy, but it's also responsible for certain aspects of your personality traits. Just like everything around you in the cosmos and everything within Mother Nature, you have characteristics of yourself. Have you ever heard of the zodiac? I believe in Job it calls it the Maserat, right? But I'm not here to talk about that. So, in Revelations, right, 17, it talks about the book of life. And this book of life has information on people who, I guess, whose names are written in the book of life. Now, understand, when it's talking about this book of life, the understanding of the book of life is the natural makeup of the human anatomy, meaning that all of who you are, not just your senses or your sin, you're sinful by nature, your sin by nature. Every aspect of the human anatomy has different aspects of itself. Good, bad, happy, sad. There's many constructs that make up your DNA and make up your personality. Your consciousness is what gives it life. So when it's talking about the DNA, period, and your name being written in the book of life, your name is the understanding of your particular consciousness being in the construct of a human anatomy made from nature, meaning that your human body came naturally to the earth through the seed of another being, of another God, such as yourself. You are a God having an earthly experience. You can talk to Jesus about that if you want. For those who are religious, I'm not a religious person, but I'm speaking the language of religion because I want people to understand that you're not far-fetched from anybody else in science just because you go to church. You're not far-fetched from anybody else who calls themselves an unbeliever, because we can all have the dialogue of the molecular construct of the human anatomy. Why am I talking about this? Let's talk about AI. Now, as you all know, there's this new thing going around with these sex bots that are coming on the scene nowadays, and these are different anatomies made by man's hands, okay? Now, these anatomies, these people are talking about transferal of consciousness, placing your consciousness into, the human body. We're not far off from that. And keep in mind, as a species, we're at least 40 years behind on what they actually have discovered. Yes, that's fact. But there's no reason to fear, right? It's another human construct. Everything that we've given our society, everything that we've given what we know as life, has been created by humanity from our own perception of our reality. We create this reality. Let's talk about the nature of humanity. Now, also in Revelations, it talks about this mark, right? This mark of the beast, which is called 666. Everybody's heard of it. It's not uncommon. But did you know that within the DNA, within your human anatomy, it is also made of carbon-12, which is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. These form carbon-12. Count the number of the beast, 666. Ponder on that for a second. Now, understand that the DNA, right? And as you can read in Revelations, it talks about the beast, right, that existed, that was and is not, that will come back. And people will be marveled by this beast as it returns, but it didn't exist. Many people will go into the construct of Satan is not real, right? That's cool, because some mystical being flying around named Satan. Yeah, it's not happening. The real Satan is you, your flesh, your DNA. The reason why it exists is because you've created the construct of it in order to make sense of your duality. How can you have good without evil? How can you have hot without cold? They simply cannot exist without one another because you will not understand the concept of cold without the concept of hot. Now, humans throughout the centuries have always struggled with knowledge. It is not the knowledge, it is the perception in which humans have utilized the knowledge, which has created this issue for humanity. Which brings me to my last point. Cycles. Everything about humanity has been a repetitive cycle. Does cycles appear in nature? Of course. Have you seen the rain? It evaporates. It goes up. It comes back down again. Everything in nature is learning. Everything in nature is consciousness. Everything in nature is supposed to learn from its particular experience. I believe as human beings, we're sent here not just to experience, but to also learn and to allow every aspect of nature to evolve in the process. But we can't do that if we can't break the cycle, if we can't get back to that higher state of consciousness. I believe the reason why you're seeing a lot of you'll see a lot of pro-black being pushed, you'll see a lot of, because that's the way the consciousness has been shifted, because it all started in ancient Chime or in Mesopotamia, or all these old ancient cultures who had a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of understanding. They may have not had what we know as like cell phones, different things like that as far as what we know, but they did have a higher understanding of consciousness, of spiritual essences, of why nature connected to them, which is why we struggle with we're dying from certain diseases that it's just ridiculous because we're overly consuming certain processed foods that we just shouldn't be, and understand that your experience is tied to your body, but who you truly are lives forever. The problem is, do you want to constantly repeat the same cycle forever? Now that's hell. This has been your boy Chime, back at you with another video. Peace, grand love to you, and I'm out.